Inside the Game, the show that talks about everything cool in video games. I'm one of your hosts, Drew Beausoleil. Coming up on today's show, we visit the beautiful world of Ori and the Blind Forest, we visit the wastelands of H1Z1, we talk with Loris Malik from Moonspire Studios about their latest game, Herald, and we visit the planet Sheer as we fight off some monsters with Evolve. But first, here's Chris with the Inside Scoop.
Hi, I'm Chris Forget, and tonight we're looking at LEGO Dimensions, a game from Warner Bros. Interactive Studios. It's going to include the new LEGO Movie, Wyldstyle, Gandalf, and Batman as a starter set. Coming out April 9th, you better look for it. For all you Destiny fans out there, look for the second expansion pack, House of Wolves, coming out May 19th.
Bounty for these traitors. Let the hunt begin.
Big news in Final Fantasy, Square Enix has sold over 1 million copies of the Final Fantasy Type O HD. Final Fantasy Type O HD is available now and includes an exclusive demo of the highly anticipated Final Fantasy 15 game title. The demo is also available with day one units while stocks last.
Square Enix and Eidos Montreal have been teasing us over on Twitch about a possible new game. They finally announced it's Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Taken in 2029, 2 years after the events of Human Revolution, Adam Jensen is returning.
I once thought I could save the world. Now look at it.
Help me!
Sometimes you just have to let go and embrace what you
April's
become.
upon us, which means we're getting brand new games with the Games of Gold and PlayStation Plus. Coming to the Xbox One, we'll have Child of Light, Pool Nation FX, and then over on the 360, you're going to have Gears of War Judgment, Terraria, Army of Two Devil's Cartel, and Assassin's Creed 4
We
Black
fly
Flag.
no colours out here, but praise the lack of them.
And coming to PlayStation Plus this April, we'll have Tower of Guns and Never Alone on PlayStation 4. PlayStation 3 will have Dishonored, Aurora's Awakening, and then over on the PlayStation Vita, you'll get Killzone Mercenary, one of my personal favorites, as well as Monster Bag. Give your loved ones a kiss goodbye. The senior game designer from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Damien Monnier, revealed on Twitter that the game could take about 200 plus hours to complete with the main campaign as well as all the side quests. CD Projekt Red revealed that they'll also be coming with 2 expansions in 2016. Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine will be totaling around 30 hours to complete both of those as well. Alright Chris, so this week the game designer on The Witcher 3 revealed that it's going to be 200 plus hours to complete everything in this game. Now obviously there's a campaign which will not take 200 hours, but if you want to do everything from start to finish, you're 200 hours plus. Now, is there a sweet spot for us gamers, or is this a little excessive? What do you think?
I find it's excessive. You know, when I'm getting through a game and I play the campaign and I finish, I'm excited. You know, I beat this thing, and then I look and I've only completed 30% of the game. That's a little disheartening sometimes. You know, it is good value with, you know, $60, $70 game.
Sure,
it's great. You can play for hours. You can play for days, months. I think it's over 80 days of play without bathroom breaks.
Sure enough, I guess, hold your bladder. Now, if you go into something like what Telltale's doing, though, where they give you 2 to 2.5 hours of gameplay, you get a sense of completion, and then there's another episode that's going to follow in another couple months. Or you play something like Gone Home on PC, the thing's only 2 hours, and that's it for the game. But if you get your value for it, and it's priced properly, I think that's a fantastic value.
Yeah, I think the price point is a big thing. I'd rather spend $5 on a game that I love to play for a couple hours than $80 on a game that I'll play, a dozen times and then put down and not play ever again.
True enough. I'm playing The Witcher. I can't wait to play The Witcher. It's going to be one of my most anticipated titles this year. How far I get through The Witcher, though, I just don't know.
Yeah.
You play games like Uncharted, you play The Order 1886, you put in 8 hours.
You're
thought
done.
It was perfect.
No, you're
it's
done.
It's a great time. I'm in for 8 hours and then I'm out.
It is, but it's so short. It feels like I'm getting ripped off with the
Oh,
price
you're
tag.
nuts. I didn't think so. I love 8 hours. If you play Uncharted, though, you're only 8 hours. You played The Last of Us?
Yeah, that was more than 8 hours.
Maybe 10, 12 hours.
Well,
12 hours, then you're in.
I was about 30, but that was on hard level. Whoa. So I do extend my.
Some of us babies like to play it on normal, I'd just say.
No, but it comes with a great cinematography too. The
True.
cutaway scenes in Uncharted and Last of Us was just amazing. It was a movie with gameplay.
Yep.
Order 1886, they sure tried.
We'll be in a much further discussion about The Order, that's for sure. But is there an actual sweet spot? What do you think? Or is it just the value of it? Because obviously CD Projekt Red has spent years building this game. They've spent tons of money building this game.
They did.
do?
If they're trying to create a franchise, that's great. But I don't think a 200-hour game is a way to create a franchise. Although there are exceptions out there. Oblivion, Skyrim, any of the Elder Scrolls is great with that. But I haven't finished one yet, and it's frustrating sometimes.
Sometimes it is, but then you're going to get those gamers, the hardcore gamers who followed the Witcher series from the beginning, from the very first series, and played the second one, and now they're looking for this third one, and they will sink the 200 hours in, right?
Yeah.
I think it's more of a personal thing.
I guess so. You can't have it all. That's why they make so many different games out there. They make the 2-hour games, and they make the 200-hour games just for that.
Yeah, true enough. We'd love to know your thoughts and your opinions on games and all their value. Head over to our website, 4nextlevelgamers.com.
So here we are today reviewing Ori and the Blind Forest from Moon Studios. A nice little story about Ori, the wood sprite who has to fight its way to save its home. What did you think of that?
Ori and the Blind Forest has got to be one of the most beautiful games I've played in a very, very long time. The art style and the music direction for this, it's just awe-inspiring at times. I almost want to sit back, but there's certain spots you cannot sit around at all. You have got to get moving, and I've been caught in a couple of places that are more challenging and more frustrating to the point where I've had to put the controller down, walk away, come back, and try it again. I am wowed. I am absolutely wowed with Ori and the Blind Forest.
With a nice little story, and it's only a two-dimensional kind of game where you're the side view.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at how much graphic detail there is in such a simple game at times.
There's a lot of depth of field, right, with this 2D side-scrolling game. Mm-hmm. And the way they've able to capture all that depth and yet bring some of that stuff to the forefront as well. Like I said, I can't get enough of this art style. It is fantastic.
And the gameplay is really great. You get challenges that are hard to complete, but once you complete, you get the bonuses you need to continue on with the game. And it keeps the game moving at a fairly good pace while you keep going.
It's got a great pace, and it's got these frustrating moments. But the game mechanics, though, are fantastic.
They are.
The controls are spot on, and you feel it's not the game that loses, it's you that loses. You know what I mean? It's your own inability to complete that challenge. And then once you figure it out, you feel this sense of accomplishment.
And you start feeling for the little character, Ori, as well. You know, you have this great storyline that you're following with him. And you feel like you almost connect with this cartoon character that's bouncing around the screen. And it's great. I really loved it.
It is awesome. And the first 5 minutes, too, that opening cinematic of how it begins the story of Ori's little tale. Wow. It is heart-moving. It is warm, fuzzy, like I'm getting goosebumps. Just talking about it. It is so awesome.
It is definitely a great game to play that way.
Very challenging to the point where it's almost too much at times. I think that'd be my biggest fault. But what I like about what the game is that it makes you want to go back to other locations that you were at the beginning of the game, because there are certain little jewels and gems you want to gather, but you can't get to those without certain abilities as you progress through the story.
Yeah, it's a great game like that. I like the fact that you have to go back, and it's not forever to get back. There are shortcuts to open up that you can kind of skip the long drawn out and fighting the same monsters over and over again. So I like that part as well.
What do you think of the monsters?
They were original. They had their own fighting style that you had to get used to. When you come across something, you had to change your tactics, and I thought that was really good.
I like the design of the monsters too, because they're not your typical monster, right? They're almost lovable in a sense, but yet you got to fight them and you got to take them out. And there's these little, almost like a I don't know what you describe it though. It's just this thing like a heartbeat that goes across and it shoots these little spikes out.
Yeah.
That's got me a few times. And this thing that's like a frog, and he jumps way up and he jumps on top of you. And the puzzles too are unique. So unique. I'm absolutely in love with Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it from beginning to end. It was a great story, great lovable character that you start to feel for.
The music too that goes along with the story as you progress. There's moments where it brings that tension up, and there's moments where it just eases right off. The music is one of the best parts about the game itself.
Yeah, it's a game that you can play in front of your kids, obviously.
Sure.
I cranked up the music because my kids even liked watching me play and enjoyed the tunes to it too.
Yeah, I thought it was great. What do you give Ori and the Blind Forest?
I give it a definite 9. This is right up there with one of my favorite games. I would play it again and again. It was so good.
Yeah, this is a can't miss by anybody. I'm going to give this one a 9.5.
Here we are discussing H1Z1 from Daybreak Games. How did you feel about it?
Now this is early access too for Steam. So on the PC, we've been granted access to another zombie infested world, defending, surviving, trying to do whatever we can to gather resources and basically meet up with others and die?
That seems to be the plot.
Right?
Like, zombies, okay, you gotta run from zombies or
Sure.
you kill them. Bears, wolves, starvation, you can dehydrate to death.
Yeah.
Bleed out, that sort of thing. You gotta be careful of that. But the biggest danger I've had, other players. You gotta watch those sniper towers. You have to watch the people with the bow and arrow that can one-shot you right in the face.
Yeah, I was in one room and I'm in this house all by myself. And I didn't have my mic on, and this is one of the things you kind of have to come with.
Yeah.
You got to bring a mic with you, because you got to communicate with these people, because if you don't, you end up like me, and I died. So I'm in there, I'm scrounging around, I'm looking in the cupboards, I'm getting things. I've got weapons. Not that I have any bullets, but I have a weapon. So I'm in there, and then these two guys just come barreling in out of nowhere. One guy had a gun at me. I don't know if he's got a bullet in there or not. I'm assuming he does. Maybe I could have pulled out my gun, and then the other guy shot me with a bow and arrow because I wouldn't talk to him because I didn't have my mic on.
Yeah, I had one of the similar problems. My problem was that it's so graphically intense that I had to lower the graphics on my old computer.
Yeah.
I bought a new one since. So low that it was still choppy. I was trying to shoot someone with bow and arrow. We were circling each other, and by the time I was able to figure out what happened, I was on the ground.
Yeah. What I do enjoy about the game is all the crafting and such that you can go in and you can discover. There's so much to discover. And then once you're able to discover all these things, you're able to craft bows, your arrows. I've made a satchel, which helps you grab other things. It allows you to pack on more, which all comes with a weight system too, which is pretty cool.
It is. You gotta be careful how much you carry because you will get bogged down and it will stop you from moving.
Yep. Now I've had a few kind of glitches too. Now, like I said though, this is alpha phase. We're in Steam's early access here. So I tried to shred my shirt, and it wouldn't shred. So what the shirt does, when you shred it, you have cloth, and then I can make a bow and arrow once I go get a stick. So I got something to defend myself with, right? Either from zombies or go hunt for wildlife or whatever that might be. But it wouldn't let me. And that's my biggest issue I think I've had. There hasn't been too many issues for me.
No, like I said, the graphic issue has been solved now.
Sure.
I did find that with sometimes if you try to shred something, if there's something in the pocket,
Yeah.
let you shred it. Different items though are tougher to get. I find that one of the best things I found, a shovel. You can bury your items in the ground after you build a shovel, and then you can come back, even if you're dead, to find your stuff again.
That's pretty cool. I have yet to do that. What I have seen though around is forts. There's forts everywhere. Now, the easiest thing to compare this to would be DayZ. Everybody knows who DayZ is, what DayZ is, and it's the same thing, but what Daybreak Games does differently is we can build forts and we can drive in vehicles.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing that you can drive the vehicles, but it also makes you a bigger target.
It does, or I'm searching a set of vehicles off the street, just off to the side, and I could hear a vehicle coming, but I didn't know how many people are in that vehicle. Does this guy have any buddies with him? So I immediately crouched, hid behind the vehicle, and waited for him to take off.
Yeah.
So I still have my stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I like the fact that even if you die, okay, you lose your stuff, but you don't lose your knowledge. You know, you
Yes.
keep your crafting abilities, you know what you need to get to that next spot where you have to be.
Well, why don't we wrap this up? You going to recommend it or not recommend H1Z1?
I'm not going to recommend it. I think that when it comes out, if it's a polished game, maybe, but right now, it's not worth it.
Well, I'm on the other side. I'm having an absolute blast. And if you can find buddies to go and build forts with and stuff, I'm absolutely recommending this.
This is the big competition to decide which guardian angels enter Archangel Academy. So pay close attention. Not all runners are equal. Some are maybe slower, or shorter, or dumber. Or all of the above, like, Harold.
From my perspective, I like to call it, when I explain it to people, that it is a endless running obstacle course. How do you go about pitching your title to other players?
You know, what I'm saying more is it's a platformer, but inverted. It means that you don't really control the guy, but you control the platform instead.
Yes, it's a unique twist that you've taken, and you don't actually control the protagonist for once. This is normally not a situation we play as.
Yep. You know, when we started the game, actually the runners was not. You couldn't find any runners. You know what I mean? It was not even existed, the concept, before when we started. So we never thought about it as a runner. We really thought it as a platformer, but with the basic gameplay, you know, the core gameplay, who is just inverted. Yeah.
Let's talk about the gameplay, because as normal, as I just discussed, a runner would be just from one end, continuous running to the other end, collecting stars, coins, whatever that may be for that particular game. Yours takes a little different twist on it. As you said, it's more of a platformer. Booby traps are set up, which play a huge part in that. So why don't we discuss what the actual core concept of the game is?
You know, so you play actually a guardian angel, okay? And you have, you know, at the beginning there is a story. It's a single-player game and it's an adventure. You know, there is a story who is linked to the gameplay and everything. And so you are, you know, the player is a guardian angel apprentice. And of course, at the beginning of the game, he chooses, you know, randomly the worst human possible, who is Harold. You know, that he has to help into a series, you know, of obstacle course races, and so the main goal, you know, of a guardian angel is actually just to help his human runner to stay alive. You know, that if something happened to him at the last moment before he's gonna die, you know, as a guardian angel, you do a miracle, and now the guy, you know, can know he's still alive. He doesn't really know why he's alive, but he can continue the race. But unfortunately, with Harold, he's so bad that he can't even pass any obstacle zone without your help, you know? So you really have here to manipulate the environment. And so when I say manipulate the environment, it's like the obstacles, you know, that you can find in the race. So you can manipulate them to help Harold, you know, to pass them and be good at the race, you know, and finish, you know, in a good place. But you can, like you said, also use them to sabotage the other runners, the other human runners, you know, to make them go slow, and of course to gain, you know, this little turbo that you have to use it on Harold to go even faster. So it's this little mechanics here that is a little complex first, because you know there is a lot of stuff to do at the same time, but when you're starting to getting it, it's very unique and refreshing, I think, yeah.
Now there is one thing I'd like to know is, have you guys thought about implementing a level editor for the fans to kind of take reins and maybe create their own levels? Because this, I think, could really shine within building up the community.
But you know, we thought about that. I'm not saying that it will not come, you know, in maybe, you know, months or whatever. But you're completely right. I mean, this game is, you know, more we are doing it, and more we realize that this game is actually made for competition and for speed run, you know. And this is where the game is really where you can really understand the deepness of the gameplay is when you're starting to be very good at that game. Unfortunately.
So the game is currently out on Steam.
Yes.
Will it be coming to Xbox One, PlayStation 4? And where I'd really like to see it, from my own point of view, is I'd love to see it on the Vita.
Yes. But you know, we actually are in discussion. So I can't say any more, unfortunately. But of course, you know, we think about it, and I don't know, you know, at all when it's gonna be ready, or even when if it's gonna be on PS4 and Xbox, on both. For now, it's really too early, but yeah, we're starting to think about it. But you know, right now, to be honest with you, we focus on the PC version, you know, and like we said, you know, with this new patch and this new ways to play with a leaderboard and stuff. And as soon as we're good with that, we're gonna start, you know, to think about the console version, of course.
Turtle Rock Studios with Evolve, a great game where you're either the monster or the hunters fighting it. I really like the whole monster hunter kind of combo that they have going. They have the 4 hunters against the 1 monster. Makes it a challenge for both sides.
It's unique, right? It's 4 versus 1. You're 4 people versus 1 person, which normally isn't very good odds. But once you're this monster and you start to evolve and you feed off the land, and then you evolve to stage 2, and then you evolve to stage 3, the table turns, and all of a sudden you're no longer the prey, you're the hunter again.
Yeah, and with some of the players out there, they are getting tough to kill as the monster. I've been dead at a level 1 monster, evolution level 1.
Yeah, you got to get in there, you got to feed. Now, the biggest downfall with Evolve is that there is no campaign. This thing is basically essentially an online multiplayer game. There is no story. I shouldn't say there isn't in the story. There is a brief kind of overview of how everything's kind of come about. And when you get in the dropship, they'll have a discussion, and you can play solo, which you can play offline as well. But there is no essential campaign that will bring you, say, 30 or 20 hours or 10 hours of missions without going to play with your friends. And each of the hunters are geared for their own specific style too. So you have the medic, the trapper, the assault, and the support class.
That's right.
So each of them are meant to focus on their own abilities, right? Now you can obviously shoot all you want at the monster, but if you're the medic, your main goal is to heal your team and make sure that they stay alive.
And if you're the monster, you hope that they forget about that main goal.
Absolutely. If you're the monster, your first thing is to either take out the trapper or you take out the medic.
Yeah.
So that's my goal is, right? If you can get to the medic, then the other team almost scurries to a certain degree, but then when you get that assault, he's got his own shield, right? So he's able to get right in there and he gets on the monster, and there's nothing you can really do as the monster until his shield goes down. So you're trying to hide and take out the other guys, and it's
full of strategy on both sides, obviously.
Yes.
You know, as the assault, you want to keep that monster pinned down as much as possible so he can't get to anyone else. But as the monster, you want to take out everyone around that assault person first.
What do you think of the environments? I'm digging the landscape.
It is amazing, and especially they keep adding maps,
Yep.
and it keeps changing the whole game. Sometimes, like you have the swamp maps and the desert maps and stuff like that, and with the wildlife that's in these maps, you got to be careful. Even as a monster, if you're a first level monster, you got to be careful who you tangle with. So all in all, Evolve, great game. I think I'd give it a score up there. Probably, I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I'm right there with you. I think it's a great game. I would have been a little higher if they would have had more of a story that we would have been fleshed out. Maybe an Evolve 2. We'll see. But yeah, I'm giving it an 8.5 as well. That'll wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Head over to our website, 4Next Gamers. There you can find more of my interview with Loris Malik. You can also drop off a little highlight reel, a segment from you, the fans, the viewers, our friends. Each and every week we'll highlight one of your gaming moments. Chris, who do we have this week?
This week we have Psycho Snipes playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Until next time, follow us over on Twitter, 4Next Gamers. And Chris, where are we going to find you?
At Man of Reaction.
Thanks for watching. Catch you the next level.
We've lost control.